What's up, everybody, and welcome to the J&K Show. I'm your man, J. Rob. My co-host right there, my brother K. What's good, bro?
Yo. What's good, man?
Welcome to the summer.
Yeah.
We made it.
Finally.
We made it.
Finally.
And now it's too damn hot.
You are hilarious.
I ain't never happy.
Your weather watching is like a show within itself.
Well, I want to be a weatherman, you know.
I did not know that.
No, I'm just joking.
Oh, well, you should.
I should, right?
You're a natural.
I'm a natural.
You're a natural.
Well, I'm a tropical baby.
All right.
I'm tropical baby. I like the heat.
Okay.
You heard that, ladies? No, it's all good. Anyways, it's all good. It's all good. So let's hit some hot stories of this week. And there's been some really good ones this week, and one of them that I was reading about was very interesting to me. So it's the whole story of Mr. R. Kelly. So R. Kelly, he alleges that the guards in the prison where he's serving time for having sex with minors, he's been in jail for many years right now dealing with that situation. So he's been locked up over the years. And he alleges that the guards drugged him. So he was overdosed, and the guards allegedly gave him anxiety medication that they knew was bad for him and too much. So they purposely overdosed him, right? Now, there's a whole drama going on whether this is true or whether it's not or situation, but that's what he is saying, right? And also he was in the hospital that time, recently, around the same time, and he was having issues with his health going on, and saying that he had blood clots in his body, and that the prison forced him to leave the hospital too early, knowing that he had blood clots going on in his body, and so on and so forth, right? You know, all of this is going on. They're denying it. That's what his attorneys are saying. So he is asking he did ask for release from prison because he doesn't feel that it's safe in there. So his attorneys don't believe it's safe. He doesn't believe it's safe. So they reached out and said, you know, can he have a home sentencing to be on home confinement, right? And they came back just recently, I think it was today, and they denied it. They said, no, you ain't going home, bitch. No, you're staying your ass right here. You are not going anywhere. But he doesn't feel safe. And his attorneys are fighting it. And they're saying it's not fair. He is not safe in prison. You have these guards, you know, giving him anxiety medication. Now he's being overdosed without his knowledge. It's just not safe. That's what his attorneys are saying. So it's crazy what's going on right now, and everything that he's went through or that he's put people through. These minors, it's just sad. The whole story is sad, right? So it's crazy what's going on. And I was thinking to myself, so I said, let me ask Kay what he thinks about this whole situation in terms of, do you think that criminals, right? Do you think that they deserve or they should be treated safely while they are locked up in prison for crimes that they committed? Crimes like R. Kelly, you know, having sex with minors and all this other things that he's done, and criminals in general. Do you believe that even criminals should be treated fairly in jail and be protected by the law and be treated, being treated safely, or do you think, well, they're just criminals and who the hell cares? Because his attorneys are just saying, he needs to be let out because his life is in danger. So do you think that criminals should be treated safely and their life be, protected as well, the rest of us? What do you think about that?
Yeah, man. Yes, I do. I think there's an expectation that you don't go to jail to die by the hands of people who were there to essentially protect you, right? Now, and so if he's being issued medication that's inappropriate and things being done to him, no, that shouldn't happen, 100%. But I will say, what the hell does that have to do with being released, right? Jail sucks, bro. Knock on wood, I've never been incarcerated, but I don't know of many people, if any, that come back saying, man, whoo, that was great. Can't wait to go back there, right? Jail sucks, and that's the way that is. Now, again, I don't think anyone, guards and as such, and people who were essentially in position of authority should be doing anything to him. That's some fracking out of bullshit right there.
And we know what happens, though.
No, it does happen. But you know what? There's something in between his safety and releasing him. This country has hundreds of prisons, if not thousands, right? Then put him in another location, right? But there's a lot that can take place before we start to talk about releasing and or house arrest, right? To me, I don't get it. And it's so funny because even in the story and that you're talking about, one of the victims, and I don't know how accurate it is, I was reading it, also thought that this was an attempted ruse to get out before completing your sentence. Now, I don't even recall what his sentence is. I think after a while, you just stop counting, right?
Right,
You know what I mean? Like, they just hit you with numbers. It just looks like the stock exchange, man. It's just numbers all over the place.
Right.
And so he's got one of those kind of bids. But she said, listen, she felt no sympathy or anything. I won't go that far, but I'm not a fan of the idea of maybe releasing people after those that commit crimes against victims and then say, hey, get me out of here because jail's far worse than what I thought it was going to be. And that's what it kind of feels like to me.
But you said you don't know what's the difference. Well, you don't equate why they should release him, even though. But here's the thing: if he's not safe, right, and they kill him in jail, if these guards or whatever are doing things against him, even though he is a criminal, he's been convicted, right, for it. I mean, it's not safe for him. They might end up killing him, and that is not right either. So his attorneys want him released just for his safety. That makes sense, right?
No, it doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense. And that's why,
two crimes don't make it right.
No, well, that's why I said he can be transferred to another facility where if it's these guards, if it's a set of guards at that location, then put him in another location. Listen, there's no shortage of jails in the U.S., right? I mean, pick a card, right? You can get there's other places they can put him in, and I don't know if he's in the state system or the federal system at this point. I don't really know, but regardless, there's other locations you can put them in. Prisoners get transferred to other facilities all the time, and that's why I said there's a chasm between unsafe and being released. There's just places you can put people, right, and still do your time. You owe your debt to society, and society wants its money, right? They want its compensation. So I think from that standpoint, we should consider that. And it's you can't help. To me, every time you talk about releasing people early, I'd say, just out of respect, give at least some thought to the victim, right? Give some thought to the victims, because I think sometimes we gloss over that. And I get it. We're in a time of prison reform and how we do things and how we incarcerate people. And we all know that justice is not blind and so forth and so on. All right. But in many cases, there's still a victim on the end of whatever decision that we make. Yeah. Right? So, therefore, with that being said, what about the victims, right? So, I don't know. To me, Jay, if he really is in danger, which I hope not, and he shouldn't be, but if he really is, something should be done to where his safety is important. And if that means transferring him to another facility, then they should do that. But to me, does that rise to the level of freeing this brother? Right. I don't see that. I don't see that.
You know, a lot of people who committed crimes like him, whether you move them from this jail to the next jail, a lot of these people, a lot of the guards, and a lot of people who work in these prisons, they don't look too kindly on them, especially when they do crimes against children like that, especially sex acts. Right. They don't look too kindly on them, and they have it out for them regardless of what prison they are in. So I know R. Kelly's attorney knows that if it's happening in this prison currently, it's going to happen in the next one. So he just feels like it is safer for him to just be getting out. It's almost even like you think about the victims, right? You think about the victims I know that if someone did something like that against, my family member, especially someone, a young child like that, I would want to make sure that they are locked up in jail for the rest of their life. I don't want them getting killed, right? Because being killed is too easy. Like, they're no longer in this world. They're not suffering the pain and being locked up behind bars for so many years. I want to make sure that they rot there and they live to 111 years old, just like I want to live, but not free like me. 111 years in jail. I want to make sure that they are locked up for life. So if you look at the victim side of it, I don't want the guards to kill him. If that's what's really happening, I'm not saying that it is, but I'm saying if that's what's really happening, I don't want him getting out that easy. So, you know what? Hey, maybe the best thing is to be released. And then, like you said, prison reform. And listen, prison reform, people are letting people out in jail. You see a lot of these people, like there was rumors that Diddy was speaking about this, and R. Kelly just came out asking President Trump to consider him for a pardon. A lot of these criminals are, I feel like, a lot of these criminals, it's almost celebrated today. And a lot of these laws and about, pardoning people is crazy. I mean, it's a whole nother topic, but still, like, I feel like a lot of these people are being considered to being released or put in home confinement or things like that. And, sometimes it is for their safety, so they're human beings too. But still.
Yeah. No, and I'm not mad at it, right?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna hold Robert Kelly. If he can get out, I mean, if this was to help him get out, then shoot your shot. Take a chance, like a roll of the dice. You never know, right? Like maybe you get a sympathetic judge, or someone that says, yeah, no, and they release him. So I ain't gonna hold him, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone said, "Come on, man, come on, fam. Like that ain't happening."
Yeah, exactly.
So,
It's a great. I forget the name of the guy, white gentleman. He got killed in jail. I forget the guy's name. He had all those sex crimes or whatever. I'm forgetting the guy's document. The guy's name, I don't remember. Epstein. Yeah, Epstein. He was saying the same thing like R. Kelly. What happened to Epstein?
He committed suicide.
Well, that's not allegedly. He got allegedly committed
there was
suicide.
a whole lot of alleges, but
right?
Yeah.
So R. Kelly's attorneys see examples just like that, and they say to themselves, "I need to get my client out because I don't want him ending up just like Epstein." So there's a valid reason why. So I could see why they would want to get him out.
Okay.
And he's like, Kate's like, I don't give a shit.
Well, I'm just saying. It's someone in jail that wants to get out.
Right.
Okay.
Because of their safety. Because they don't want to end up like Epstein.
Okay. Like, it's not safe in jail, dog.
Right. So you're saying that's shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Right. Like, I think every inmate can say that.
Well, he proclaimed his innocence.
It's not safe in jail.
That's true.
Right? Like,
especially for innocent people who are locked up and they weren't.
It's not safe for anyone.
Well, that's true.
The guilty,
but what I'm saying, it's really bad when you're innocent and you're locked up in jail, and then you get killed.
I don't know. I don't think the body hurts more or less if you're innocent or not.
No, but I'm saying it's just worse off when you're in jail and you're innocent and they kill you.
Okay.
Versus you being guilty 100%. And they kill you. That's all I'm saying.
No, I think if you're innocent in jail, yes, you're right. There's levels to this, which it sounds like what you're saying. And so if you're innocent in jail through no reason of your own, does that hurt more than others? Hell yeah, I would imagine, right?
But
I'm just speaking on the notion, the idea that jail is not safe. It's not safe.
No,
it's not a place where anyone wants to be. People that are in jail want to be out of jail. So I'm not at all surprised that R. Kelly said what he said.
Yeah.
And if his life generally is in danger, then the prison systems, the people who are in charge of that, need to make his safety a priority,
right,
and transfer him to someplace else and put him in an environment to where he's safe.
Right.
Behind bars.
Right. For the rest of his life.
I don't know if the charges, like, I don't know if he was sentenced. At this point, it's all
I think it's like 30 years he was supposed to be in
then,
there.
then do his 30.
Right.
Whatever the law is. If he can get parole before that, then get parole. If he does 30 years, if it's life, whatever. That's all that I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No more, no less than what you were sentenced for. And you shouldn't, in my opinion, special concessions shouldn't be made because of for the reasons by which he's saying.
That's true.
That's my 2 cents.
And you're right. And the guards, listen, keep him safe so he could serve all those years and not get off easy and just get his ass killed.
I mean, we're saying the same thing,
exactly.
but different motivations.
Yeah, exactly. All right, my brother, what we got next, man?
So listen, add Fat Joe to the list of celebrities that are catching hell for their alleged nefarious behavior. So Fat Joe's hype man, former hype man, was it Terrance Dixon, I believe his name, or something like that, a.k.a. T.A., has come out, $20 million lawsuit. I think that's what it is. Don't hold me, folks. But came out and he filed this lawsuit against it. Now, here's the thing. I'm reading through this, and some of the stuff that he alleges is pretty heinous. What Fat Joe did is alleged to have done. But the part, though, right, that I read was heinous towards other people. Meaning, it alleges that Fat Joe had sexual relations with minors. And he also transported them across state lines. Like, there's some serious accusations, right? Some really serious accusations there. So that's in there. The part where I saw what T.A. is upset about, at least in part, is he was made to have sex in front of people.
Wait, T.A. was made to have sex?
Yeah,
in
well,
front of
that's what it says. That's what I read.
Okay,
right? And again, take that for what it's worth. Says that one of the charges that he alleged that Fat Joe forced him to have sex with women in front of people.
Okay, so Fat Joe forced him to have sex in front of people.
Right.
Not with minors, or no? Fat Joe was...
Well, I didn't... The part that I read, I didn't see him saying that he slept with minors.
Okay.
Now,
just sex with people in front of others.
Right.
Okay.
Now, is that... I don't know. Did he selectively leave that out?
Okay.
Yes, no. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, right?
Right.
So and I'm going to be honest, Jay, I had to remind myself that there is a victim here. Because, listen, we do the J&K show and my comedic mind jumped in. I was like, so wait a minute.
Right. Allegedly, there's a victim.
Well, this is a victim. Let's just assume, right?
All right.
Here on the J&K show, we believe everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
Okay.
And sometimes even after they're proven guilty. So we're going to go with my man T.A. and just say, let's just see. We'll see. Take it at face value. We're not saying Joe is guilty or T.A. is right. I'm just saying when I first read it and I'm hearing in my mind is I'm with one of the most famous rappers in the world. I'm a hype man on tour with him. I'm smashing groupies. And now I'm like, I need that get back because you made me do that. So did it happen that way? Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. But here's the one thing I will say before I pass it on to you. And which is, it's that, I always go back to this, you and I talk about this, it's mixing this stuff with work. Technically, his hype man worked for him. And this is where it starts to get ugly, right? So even if all of this other, right, if they were just homies and fellas and boys and you just riding out with me, it's a totally different connotation versus, say, that dude's his employee. So with all of that being said, I'm gonna throw it to you, man, do you think when this is all said and done that this is gonna come out that Joe did something shameful and he's guilty of this, or do you think this is going to come out as Terrance, aka T.A., on a money grab?
I'm tired of hearing about these stories, Kay. I mean, I'm really tired of talking about all these celebrity stories that are getting sued for these sexual harassment cases, and they've happened years upon years ago, and they're just coming out now and all stuff. Like I'm just sick of it, and I'm not listen. And if it's true, like you said, if it's true, I feel bad for the victims. I'm with you on that.
Right.
You know, I just feel like, in my mind, I feel like a lot of times they're money grabs, more times than
Really?
they're not. Oh yeah, yeah. You know, you and I speak a lot about these type of stories.
We do.
You're such an astute, brilliant man.
Wow. Thank you.
And I was telling you the issues early in this week that I just have problems with it. And I said, I don't want people getting mad at me because I'm not defending anyone. I'm not defending these people that are allegedly doing these heinous acts upon these alleged victims, right? I'm not defending them at all. But I feel like I'm just tired of listening to it. And you brought this up this week. It's the part where they're being complicit, right? And I said, Kay, you are right. That is the part that is so, it just rubs me the wrong way, because I always feel, and I've always told you this, I believe that we are all responsible for our own actions. We know when we are involved in certain situations that are not right, right?
And to be clear,
Yeah.
I was suggesting
Yes.
that that's the basis of why you feel that way. Not
Yes.
that I said that these victims are complicit,
Okay, right,
but
yes.
that maybe that's where it's
yes, you're right.
what's okay unsettling
Right.
with you.
Yes,
Okay.
it's very unsettling to me because I feel like they are being complicit in it. Again,
Right.
I'm not saying that they are not victims, right?
Right.
But I believe that we all know when we're doing something that is wrong, and we're a part of something that is wrong and it's not right. And a lot of people continue to stay there. I've done it myself. I know a lot of people have done it. You know, people just do it, right? So you stay in a situation and you take part in negative situations, and you really have an opportunity to get out earlier in the situation before it gets any worse, or the first time that you see something that's going wrong, you know, you can get out. You know, you can get out. You can do your best. We are all adults. Now, I understand it's a little bit different when there are children involved, and, you know, they are not as, you know, as smart as us, and they may not know, as, you know, the difference between right and wrong as much as an adult does. I get that.
Right.
That's fine. But I feel like I see too many adults staying in situations because the money is great right now. The money is great. Their opportunities are great. They're with these celebrities. They can get to do this. They can get record deals. They can get acting contracts. They can get money. They can get their bills paid. And they're doing things, and they're very complicit in these situations because they are getting, you know, there's advantages to it, right? And then I guess what rubs me the wrong way is then they come out years later and they sue these celebrities for doing things that they were complicit in all the time. And again, I'm not just saying, I'm not, you know, victim, you know, blaming or shaming or whatever, anything like that. It's just, I don't know, it's just part of me that just keeps just feeling bad about it, right? And I don't want no one right and say, Jay said this and Jay, like, he's a bastard. And like, I'm just being honest with what I feel. I'm always behind the victims. I want that to be clear. And you know, it's just sad. But I think in this particular case, yeah, I think it's a money grab. And by the way, I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not saying that Fat Joe didn't do it.
Right.
Because again, I don't know. I have no idea. But I will say that TA, you know, with all these years and what was going on, there was, you know, it was being complicit at the time. And that part I just don't like.
Right. Well, I think it's one of those things where both things could be true, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, to where you maybe were a part of it, and meaning if you're a victim, you were still maybe a part of it as well, which doesn't. But here's the head crack, man. That doesn't absolve a perpetrator, the person that perpetrated the crime or the assault or whoever partook in any kind of nefarious behavior. So, right? So, listen, I get it from a standpoint, somewhat understand what you're saying in terms of if there's a kind of fatigue, if you will.
Oh man, I'm tired, bro.
Right, in terms of hearing all of these stories. But at the same time, are we better off as a society when now that people can talk about this stuff, right? Bring attention to it, that folks feel brave enough to mention these things and bring it up and talk about it and so on, to where this didn't happen before. Maybe there's something to that, I guess is my point. You know, are we better off as a result?
I mean, listen, anytime we are able to have a conversation and talks in society about what's truthfully going on in this world, that's always a great thing, right? You know, it happened with the Me Too movement and women being able to speak freely now about what's happened to them in the past, when they were with Bill Cosby or R. Kelly, whatever the case may be, and now they're free to talk about it, and that's great. And I like that. So that's a good thing. So I agree with you that we're in a much better place, and it's all about communication. And I understand why people may have not wanted to speak up, speak about the truth, especially victims of sexual assault, especially women, right? I can see how that was difficult back then. It's a little bit easier now. And I guess even with men, whether it's sexual assault from one man to another, I guess, you would feel a kind of way. But I just think it's so important to try your very best to speak about it as soon as you possibly can. And, again, I'm not saying that they're wrong, but holding it, whatever. I've never been in that situation. I'm just saying to try their very best, because we know, you and I talk, and lots of people on the net, and people listen to all these stories, and they hear about people bringing up these accusations of sexual assault that happened years and years ago. And what do you see? You see a lot of people saying, oh, come on, man, it's just a money grab, right? And it could be, or it could not be, right? They might have just taken their mental time to take the time, and they only worked up the courage to do it. But it just looks a certain way, especially when I go back to when some of the victims are being complicit. It just looks a certain way, because a lot of the average person, they see that, oh, well, they was fine being complicit with it when it was advantageous to them, when they were getting paid, when they was getting these jewels and these cars and these vacations and these record contracts and this and that and this and that and the third and all that stuff. It was all good then. But now all of a sudden, when it's done and you're washed up now, you want to file these lawsuits against these celebrities, because all of a sudden you're not, it's not working for you anymore. And I think that's the part that just is makes a lot of people fatigue hearing about these stories. And you know what I'm saying? And this is the thing.
No, I listen, Jay. You're not alone. I think there is an opinion out there from many folks, and they feel like you. I think there's an equal amount of people that understand it, that get it, that still see this through the lens of victims. That it's not just the victims talking about it, but it's also society being in a space to be receptive to hearing it. Right? Yeah. So I think I think all of that is aligned up. And I think the last thing I'll say to it is, while you're talking, I'm going through some of the cases in my head, and most of them, at least the ones I think about, will kind of prove correct. Okay. Right? Like whether it's Bill Cosby, whether it's Kevin Spacey, whether it's, we'll see to some degree. Diddy, I mean, Puff he's still at trial, but at least we saw some of the things that happened with Cassie from the video. So I think if there's anything to come from that, there is that. You know what I mean? Right. So it ain't all. Yeah. That it's proof. There are some things that can be proven. Right. It's just the aspect where the victims, they just stay. They just stay. Right. I ain't even going there. Well, so what you got, bro? All right, but it's so interesting. So we're gonna go from one Dixon. I wonder if these two guys are related. I don't even want to talk about another sexual assault story, but I have to. Another Dixon is named Derek Dixon. Derek Dixon is this actor that has starred in a lot of Tyler Perry's projects, most notably The Oval.
Now, okay, here's another sexual assault story we talk about today. Hey, but maybe we should talk about some more fun things, man. We're so drab, Doc. What's going on? Why we got all these sexual assault stories going on, bro?
Listen, Jay.
Give me something fun.
Listen, in our bylines, we said J and K talk about the trending news.
Yeah, okay, all right, okay, that's what
we don't make the news, we just talk about it.
Yeah, we just talk about it.
Right.
Well, anyway, we have another Dixon, Derek Dixon. He stars in Tyler Perry's The Oval. He is suing Tyler Perry for $260 million, charging him with sexual assault. Okay? He allegedly first met Tyler back in 2019 while he was working on these Tyler Perry Studios soirees, this event that was going on. So he met Tyler Perry back then, and they, established this friendship. And after that event, Tyler, I guess they exchanged numbers. So what, Derek is saying, and Tyler immediately called him up and say, listen, I want to offer you a role in one of my shows. So that's when he started getting roles, and he was a up and coming actor. So Tyler Perry, as he does with many up and coming actors, he sees some talent and he hires them to be in, in his shows, if it works, right? So, so he hired him to be in the show, The Oval, and apparently, I think he went to one of his events and he had a little bit too much to drink, and he was at an event at Tyler Perry's estate, had too much to drink, and he went back to one of the rooms. Again, we'll talk about the whole complicit thing. Not quite sure why he went back to the room, but he went back to the room to sleep off the alcohol, I guess. And then from what Derek Dixon says, that Tyler Perry came to the room and started to rub his thighs and his legs, and was trying to push up on him, and it was crazy. Also, there's a bunch of text messages between Tyler, a bunch of texts between Tyler and Derek Dixon, and so they're going back and forth. I don't know how convincing it is that he was trying to push up on him or whatever. I know there's back and forth, whatever. It can go either way, but he just feels like, and also I meant to say with the acting opportunity, he was told, after he was worked with him on The Oval and other shows, that he would be able to give him his own show and help work his production company, and he was promising him all these things. So Derek says, I guess that never came into fruition, right? But he was still acting on his shows. So it's just crazy when I think about it, because there's so many situations that's going on, and by the way, obviously Tyler is not he doesn't agree with that at all. I think so. His attorneys came out in the complaint that Tyler Perry vigorously denies all of these allegations, right? And his attorney says this is an individual who got close to Tyler Perry, who now appears to be nothing more than setting up a scam. That's what Tyler Perry's attorney, Matthew Boyd, said in a statement, right, to People magazine. And he says, Tyler will not be shaken down, and we are confident that these fabricated claims of harassment will fail. So, so he came out strong, and his attorneys are vehemently disagreeing with this and saying that it is false, and it's just a crazy situation. So you see all these stories of sexual harassment, and I like how these people come out and defend themselves. So I really want to bring up this story, and I know we've been talking about these same topics for today, but I want to ask you, what do you think about this whole situation that came out? Another alleged victim of a big celebrity who allegedly sexually assaulted them. What do you make of this mega celebrity like Tyler Perry and these accusations of sexual assault against Tyler Perry?
Okay, so before I answer that question, and thanks for framing this up, I heard a lot about it. Tyler Perry's gay? That's a question. Is Tyler Perry gay? Is this known information and I'm just out of the loop?
Listen, I've never heard Tyler Perry say that he's gay.
Oh, okay. So this is not.
I've never heard Tyler Perry say that he is gay. I haven't. So I can't answer that question. I have no idea.
Are there rumors going around or something? Like, I feel I don't want to be petty, but I'm like, yo, dog, don't bury the lead. Like, I heard this. I was like, Tyler Perry's gay?
Well, here's the thing. Is Queen Latifah gay? I don't know. I've never heard Queen Latifah say she's gay.
I don't know about that. You were notorious for strays.
We're going within the
strays at people. We're talking like Tyler.
And actually, being gay has nothing to do about
Tyler Perry is an industry on and of itself. He's big enough that he can own this block. Yeah. Without bringing in Latifah.
Right.
But going back to that, so anyway, I didn't know.
Well, my point was just we don't know. We don't know about Queen. We don't know about.
Well,
Tyler.
that was my question. Okay. Was this already out there? Is it known and I just didn't know? I did see some of the, before the show, I did see some of what was in those text messages and what this gentleman has alleged that Tyler did, the touching, the groping, and so on. So to going back to your question, listen, it's just one more of many. And if it's true, it's horrible. But one of the things I've said to you, and I've repeated this again and again and again, is it's workplace. And the moment you do that, you open up so much more. The fact, and I don't know this, but to me, the fact that it involves this kind of employer-employee kind of thing, that someone can make that argument, gives you a lane to sue for $260 million damn dollars, right? Because it's not just the individual, but it's also from a company standpoint. So I'll start there, right? Stop mixing this work relationship stuff. It just does not turn out well. When does it ever? So let's start there. The other part is, I hope it's not true. One, I hope it's not true because I hope this alleged victim, this Dixon guy, didn't go through that. And two, I hope it's not true because for the culture, I hope it didn't, I don't want to view Tyler that way, right? Okay. I do not want to, just before this story broke, he was all over the internet for the speech that he gave. It was at the BET Awards?
Yeah.
At BET Awards. Now, I will say most of that speech, my 2 cents, I was not feeling. I'm not wild when people use those platforms to push their political opinion, regardless of what side you're on. Right. But I was feeling the statement that he made at the end about not, and I'm paraphrasing folks, but about not allowing our fears to outpace our faith, if you will, right? Yeah, and I thought that was dope and it was poignant, right? And so that was powerful. So that was gobbling up all the oxygen on the internet. Right. And then boom, this thing comes out. And this is a tremendous hit to his brand. Now, I think even whether it does or doesn't, I think he can recover from this. Okay. Right? One thing I will say with Tyler, he has built a business that doesn't rely on traditional vehicles by which to get his product out there. Right. Yeah. Right. So there is no Tyler Perry Productions brought to you by ... Right?
OTP, baby.
Right. Yeah. Also, the alleged victim is not someone that belongs to the affinity group of his core audience. I think that's key, right? Black women move the needle for him. And the person that's making this accusation is not a black woman. Nope. So I think there's something to be said for that as well. So it'll be interesting, really, to see. I'm not, and you and I think we've covered Tyler. Yeah. I personally am not a fan of his content, and that's not a shot. Yeah. Because Tyler would probably be the first one to say, "Kay, I'm not making it for you, so you don't get it. You shouldn't get it." Right. So I think from that standpoint, it's cool. Yeah. But I hope that it's not true for both people. One, if he's a victim, I hope he didn't go through that, and then also from Tyler's standpoint for the culture and so on. So,
yeah. No, and I know you said you're not a fan of his work, but you also said, which is true. I mean, you respect him as a businessman.
Oh yeah.
And that is that is what I respect so much about him. And you know, when I heard this story, it's just crazy because I think about how successful he is and everything he has done for the culture and for black people and putting them on and giving them opportunities and seeing those new talented actors who haven't had the chance and giving them the opportunity and putting them on to do such great things. It's so great, and everything that he's done with Tyler Perry Studios, he's employed so many people, you know, a lot of black people and others as well too, but just given the opportunity to find them work and to give these struggling actors opportunities has been amazing. And I think and I do like his work. I think it's talented, and I know some people don't, and some people don't respect his work, but everyone that I speak to in our industry, they respect his hustle and his business acumen, right? Like they really do. And so when I was reading the story, I was like, I just can't believe, because I know that he's such an intelligent man, right? So successful, so intelligent. I said to myself, I can't see him, you know, risking everything that he has built up, you know, all of his success, all of his fame, all of his fortune, and to put that at risk for sexually assaulting an actor, it just, I mean, again, I don't know whether it's true or not, but to me, it just seems really weird in someone so, you know, you and I talk about this so many times, like you said, you know, don't shit where you eat. Is that what the saying is, right? Like, you know, why would he take that risk? He's a brilliant businessman. He's not an idiot. He's extremely intelligent. So I just can't see him putting himself at risk and his whole career at risk, his name and fortune, over pushing up on one of his actors.
Listen, man, that to me ain't enough to not do it. We've seen tons.
And this is Tyler Perry.
Well, listen.
He has so much to lose.
No, I get it, but then so does everyone. That
not as much as Tyler.
No. I think as much as Tyler Perry, to them, right? Not comparing Tyler Perry to someone else's wealth or what they have to lose. I'm saying to whatever your circumstances are, you stand to lose, right? And so, but yet and still, people do what they do, right? So I don't know if that would be a deterrent for someone not doing anything. People partake in high risk behavior, especially, listen, when it comes to matters of the heart, and I think intimacy and sex are one of those things. When it comes to matters of the heart wants what the heart wants, man. You don't even see straight. You just want that, right? Again, this is all alleged, but if that is indeed the case, yeah, you know, there's a reason why we, you know, you watch any meme and we see a clip of someone willing to risk it all, right? Like that was born out of the fact that you were willing to risk it all because we partake in that kind of behavior. Not saying he did or didn't, but if he did, I wouldn't be shocked that he did it, without considering how much he could lose. Right. Yeah, I just think that's just human behavior.
It's true, but it's almost like we know different celebrities. We know them, but we know a lot of them, seeing them on TV or where we met them or even spoke to them once or whatever the case. But you see a case like Diddy, right? And then you see a case like this, right? Where they're both like sexual assault claims. It's alleged that happened. And when I first heard this situation about Diddy, I said to myself,
I can see that.
I can see that.
Right.
You know, I can see that happen. I didn't know, but I can see that. Versus when I hear this about Tyler Perry, from what I know of him, I'm like, nah, man. I don't, not saying it's not true. I don't know, but I don't see it. I don't see it at all. And it's very interesting when allegedly he was promised all these deals. He would get his own show, his own production, his own whatever the case. And it's just very interesting at that time, maybe when he didn't get it. Now, all of a sudden, you're suing for $260 million. Like, the timing is always interesting to me. when these cases come up, and you were talking earlier in the other segment about the whole money grab thing, I think that really does play a part in it. And when you look at the different characters of, say, a Diddy compared to a Tyler Perry, they're extremely successful black men, but their personalities are extremely different from what we know of the two men. And with Tyler, don't see it happening. I don't see that was the case. I see it's a money grab here. I see it's a disgruntled actor that maybe he didn't get what he wanted, and now he's, suing him. People sue for everything. Look, someone just sued. Remember, the girl sued Jay-Z and they dropped the case, right? So this happens a lot against these celebrities.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say, Jay, and I've said this to you before, they can both be true. It could be, right? A way, it could be Dixon's get back, right? And it could have also taken place. He could be motivated by the fact that he didn't get this, or there could be a little bit of a money grab. But it doesn't mean
$260 million. That's a big money grab.
Right. But it could be a money grab. But it also doesn't mean that what took place, what he alleges took place, didn't happen. That's the part I'm getting at. That both things can be true.
Right.
The fact that if it did happen means that TP put himself in a situation for someone to have credibility around a money grab. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
And so now, if it didn't happen, then it didn't happen.
Right.
But if it did, I'm not going to hold him because you slipped up, and now it's like, oh, well, he's just doing that because, it's a money grab. Well, it might be an opportunity, but you gave him the runway. If you gave him the runway and now he's taking advantage of that, then I'm not going to hold him for that. The other thing I would say, oftentimes what you'll bring up is how these things maybe take place and alleged victims sit on it for years. We're talking this is not that. They met in 2019, 2020, something like that. This has not aged and died on the vine, right? Just kind of sitting there.
Still 2019.
But listen,
I think if I'm offended, Kay.
Hold on, bro.
Okay.
Hold on. If you read through this thing, it was a bit of a slow burn, my dude. Right? Like, he didn't come out right out the gate suggesting that what took place, right? And so I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to make his case for him. I'm just saying, in contrast to, when you brought it up, the fact that these alleged victims have waited years and years and years and years. All I'm saying is, by comparison, this has not. There's no statutes. If there is a crime here, there's no statute that's expired or anything of that nature. No. So, maybe there is something to that.
And I can't say that what I would do is what other people should do. But if it's 6 years we're talking about, and if someone sexually assaults me, again, I know I'm not like everyone else and everyone's not like me, but I would just think within 6 years, even though it's a slow burn or whatever the case may be, I think that's just long enough that I would have filed. And again, I'm saying me, but I just wish that this would change with everyone who's filing these sexual assaults, that I just wish it would come out sooner. I'm not saying that they're wrong or nothing like that. I'm just saying, I just feel like if it did happen that way, more people, this world, instead of saying how we always talking about people don't be that, it's just a money grab. I believe if they came out right away, you wouldn't think people talking, you wouldn't hear them saying money grab so much if they came right out the gate. Oh, he sexually assaulted me last week. And it came like, more people would more tend to believe these accusations, or that the things really happened. That's all I'm saying. They would just be giving themselves a better opportunity. I'm not saying they're wrong. You could wait 25 years. It just makes things look worse. I'm not saying this. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair. I can see that. And listen, it's a question that people bring up.
Yeah.
Why'd you wait so long? And I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't see any. It's worth asking, and I don't think you're blaming a victim by just asking the question, why did you wait? Why now? Why not before? Why did you wait until now?
Right.
So
they know how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we hope justice is served, and good luck to Mr. Perry and Mr. Dixon, and we hope that justice is served, right?
Copy that.
There we go. All right, what we got next, my brother?
So Forbes released their top 50 earning content creators list, right?
Okay, we on there?
Well, unfortunately, it only went to the top 50.
Oh!
Maybe we're 51.
Oh, we're 51. Okay, all right. Okay, got you. All right.
We didn't make the list.
Okay, this is all good. That's probably what it is.
So the list was incredible, man. And so it had some names on there, some names that you might have thought would be on there. What's my man Castanet?
Yeah. He's the one.
I Show Speed was on there.
Okay.
Drewski was on there.
Okay.
Incredibly successul. It's a pretty good list. So if you haven't had an opportunity, definitely go out and take a look at it. And it was a combination of not just what they're earning by their social media channels, but also what their other revenue streams that they are receiving based off of what they've done with their social media platforms. So it had me thinking, because some of these folks are incredibly famous. And I just wondered, I'm going to ask Jay, are content creators the new megastars? And have they supplanted, I think I'm saying that right, have they supplanted the musical artist, the pro athlete, and the Hollywood actors as now being the go-to megastars that we all look up to?
No. They're stars in their own right in their specific field of content creators. That's it. You're not surpassing the movie stars of the world and the singers. Not even close. I don't even know you name me them 50 people. I don't know them. And again, I'm not saying that I know everybody, but I know the C and the D list of the actors and singers and stuff like that. The average person even knows the C and the D list actors and singers and athletes and things like that. The average person only knows the biggest of the, and they don't even know them. Okay? So they will never, the megastars in the content creator world will never surpass traditional Hollywood.
Well, let me ask you this. Based off of that, then what do you say to General Motors, American Airlines, large corporations that hire these content creators / influencers? They're not hiring these B-list actors that you're talking about. Moreover, the amount of money that according to Forbes' top list collectively was about $850 million in revenue that they generated for themselves. So on average, it comes up to about $17 million per content provider, content creator, excuse me. Some made a lot more, some made less. But that's incredible, man. So if they're not to the level of that what you say they are, as compared to say some of these actors, then why does Main Street continue to hire these folks and pay them so much damn money?
Because those are the people that are willing to do it. First of all, you look at New Heights, for example, right? Any celebrity can be a content creator, right? You think if New Heights, or if you think name any celebrity in the world, if they can just start a podcast tomorrow, they're going to go to them. They're going to go to them before these no-name content creators, especially the C and D ones. You could pick any. You can pick, Michelle Obama, right? She just started with her brother, right? You could pick any celebrity. Denzel Washington can start a podcast tomorrow. They're going to turn to Denzel. But it's just because Denzel and all these big celebrities, they're too busy working, right? They're filming their movies. They're making their albums. They're doing what they need to do. They don't have time to be making this content, right? Some of them do. And when they do decide to start up a podcast tonight, then all of those businesses are going to go to them. And those content creators who don't have anything else going on, they're going to be out with the wind, right? So, of course, that is what they are going to do. I understand why they're going to these people and, whatever, because these major celebrities, these major athletes, look at how all these athletes, they're starting their own podcast. They're doing all these things they do. So, yeah, so I understand why they're going to them, but they're only going to them because these major athletes and actors and singers, they don't got time for that shit.
All right. I vehemently disagree.
Of course you do.
I disagree with that, but I'm going to put something in perspective.
Okay.
Right? The top NBA player, top earning NBA player, and this is not overall contract, but per year, right now is Steph Curry.
Okay.
$55.7 million. The top baseball player is Shohei Ohtani.
Dodgers, right?
Yep, with the Dodgers, with the Los Angeles Dodgers, $70 million. Top NFL player, Dak Prescott.
Damn, he's the top?
Okay. $60 million.
Okay.
The top actor in Hollywood, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, $88 million. So you've got Steph Curry, 55. You've got Shohei, $70 million with baseball. You've got Dak Prescott with 70, and the top actor is Dwayne Rock Johnson at 88.
That's their salary.
Yeah, over 1 year, 1 year salary.
Yeah.
You want to know who and how much the top earner is for content creators? One, who is it? Mr. Beast, by not surprising anyone that it's Mr. Beast. $85 million. Bruh, Jay, you're wrong. What
am I wrong on?
They are the most famous people. They are.
Wait. What does money have to do with fame?
Well, money has.
You just said they're the most famous people. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Well,
I don't even know who you just talked about right there.
Well, that's because you live in a bubble.
No, but he's not the most famous person.
I'm going to tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
Because because these people, in particular, not just.
What'd you call him, Mr. Beats? Doc, what's his name?
Mr. Beast.
Beast. Doc, do you know who Mr. Beast is?
I actually do not.
Thank you.
Oh my Lord.
Thank you. He's up here talking about these most popular, all those celebrities he just named off, and he's talking about Mr. B is more.
Versus Beast.
We don't even know his name. How is he supposed to be more famous than those celebrities that you just named? Did you just name 4 people?
Well, because first of all, you and Voice of God Doc are not, you guys are not the be-all, end-all, be-all in terms of pop culture. If you guys don't know these folks or know who Mr. Beast is, shame on you.
Our viewers right now, those names you just named off, they don't even know. Half of them don't even know who he is. And you're talking about, so wait, let me ask you something. So you're saying Mr. Beat? What's his goddamn name?
Holy smoke.
What's his name?
Beast.
You're saying Mr. Beast is more famous than those 4 people you just named. Is that what you're saying?
I would say.
What?
I would say, yeah. I would say there is.
Doc.
Hold on. Let me unpack this a bit. Right? These Mr. Beast is a global brand. This is not generating $85 million domestically. He is a global star. And people all over the world know him. He is the reason why large companies are hiring him to pitch their products.
You're mixing up fame with business.
Here's the analogy we use. Take Mr. Beast and take Dak Prescott, who's the highest paid NFL player, walk into a mall. Who's drawing the bigger crowd? Without a doubt, Mr. Beast would draw the louder crowd.
Don't talk about a football player, Dak Prescott. He's not even a big celebrity.
Come on, man. You can't bounce back and forth. I'm telling you that this is what. So the trending story right now. One of the stories that's online right now. They're talking about an incident with Denzel Washington. Mm-hmm. Denzel Washington meets the creator, Ty the creator, mm-hmm. and it's like, and he asked him, "Are you famous?" Creator's like, "Yeah, I'm all right." Mm-hmm. So he says, "All right, you know what? Let's go see how famous you are." They go out through the side door where, people are out there, where the fans and people, they walk out there. You know whose name they're screaming when they see? Not Denzel's. They stand on the the running board of the SUV, the truck and everything. They're out there screaming Creator's name.
A bunch of children. Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
That's the audience. Okay.
Dog.
Okay.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
To the point where Denzel was like, wow, I guess you are famous, right? Like, my point is, before you stepped on me and killed my hot take, was
That's what I do.
so killing my hot take, man. But the point is, it's like there's a community and a tremendous amount of people who are incredibly famous that you guys are just in the dark about. You can't be so goddamn ignorant, meaning like you are so ignorant when I said you can't be. The fact that you don't know them, therefore...
I never said that.
Therefore, no one knows them.
Did not say that.
All right, go ahead, man.
Doc,
you ain't going to shut the fuck up.
Doc, did I say that?
Go ahead.
You're going to have to hit rewind because I did not say that. And you are taking, you're saying Tyler, the Creator, and Denzel, and you're a bunch of kids. Of course they're going to be screaming out Ty's. Of course. I mean, come on. Everybody knows in the world that Denzel is more famous. Okay? Whether any of these content creators are making more money, now that's a whole different conversation and segment we can discuss at another time. But that's not this segment. You made an asinine statement that they are more famous, and they are not. That is clear. They may make more money, but we ain't talking about that. You always you're a businessman, so I get it. But you're always thinking business, or you're thinking funds and money. But that doesn't equate to who's more famous.
Are you finished?
Oh, I'm done. Because I made my point, and everybody understands and agrees with what I'm saying.
Are you finished? Because
let's go to the voice of God. Let's have the voice of God weigh in here.
I guess he's not finished. I guess he's
no, I'm done. It's the voice of God's turn. Why don't you ask the voice of God what he thinks? Go ahead, voice of God.
Like I said, I don't know who this gentleman is.
I'm not surprised now.
But that could be anybody. There's businessmen that make 3 times what that person makes that aren't famous that make that type of money. So I see your point, Jay.
Thank you,
I
sir.
see your point, Kay. It's Tyler, the Creator, goes out with Denzel Washington. I would have thought Denzel would have been the more draw to the crowd, but
well, Doc, it was because of the crowd.
But
it's because of the crowd.
But it's a random occasion, so it's like just by them stepping out, you don't know that there's just going to be a whole bunch of young people out there.
Thank you.
To root for Tyler, the Creator. So
thank you.
So guys, let me tell you this. You walk out into a random crowd, okay? You have adults, right? Adults who know who Denzel Washington is, right? And so if we have this crowd and it's 50% adults and there's 50% kids, who do you think is going to be screaming out, la, 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 whatever? It's not going to be the adults, all right? Because we have cool to ourselves and we're not going to be screaming like that. We're adults. You know who is going to be screaming? The kids who know Tyler, the Creator. They're going to be screaming and they're going to be making all the noise. It doesn't mean just because they're the ones who's making all the noise that he is more famous than Denzel. That is just not true. Denzel Washington is probably the biggest actor in Hollywood, one of the biggest actors in Hollywood, and everybody knows who he is, and he's extremely famous, and he is way more famous than Tyler, the Creator. That's just is what it is. That's it.
So I stand by what I said, that they are more famous
okay,
than these individuals that you're talking about. In addition to the fact that it's not just a matter of it's not just a matter of the fact that they made as much as they did, but it's how they make it. They literally make their money by being who they are. So it's not to Doc, to your point of, say, some business person or some financer who's making their billions through stock trades or acquisitions and mergers. No, The content, in many cases, these content creators are they themselves the people in front of the camera. Thus, why they become famous. And because of their influence. Their influence also dictates the level of how much they're making. They make because they influence. They influence because they're famous. It's a cycle. It circles around. And so, to me, this is simple math. Jay just sounds like old man.
Math has nothing to do with this. Continue.
All right, so let's wrap up this segment.
You're putting money in this again.
Ahead,
you're putting money in this once again, but it's all good. Listen, we have our own opinions on it. We'll just agree to disagree. And since K is reaching for the envelope, I guess it's that time for What Do You Say, J and K. What we got, my man?
Just shut the... All right.
Just read the damn letter.
All right, here we go. So this letter comes from Simon. He sent this to us from YouTube. I actually remember this one. Mm-hmm. So J and K, I had the scare of a lifetime 2 years ago. I suffered a heart attack. It was a life-changing moment for me. Since then, I eat well, I exercise, I stopped drinking alcohol. I'm proud to say I lost 49 pounds and I feel great. Mm-hmm. What is not great is my lifestyle change has placed a burden on my relationship. My wife continues the same bad habits and doesn't really support my journey. I encourage her to live a healthy life, but she won't change. This really causes a strain on our relationship. Do you think a couple's divergent opinions on health is worth breaking up if both refuse to change? So this is, and I remember when this question came in, I remember reading this and I was really looking forward to talking to you about this because I know how important health and wellness is to you. Mm-hmm. To me, and I want to hear your response, to me at first glance, it seems like that would be a deal breaker to you, but I don't know if it would rise to the level that you would sever a relationship. So I right now am as interested as our listeners to hear your feedback on this one, Jay.
In terms of breaking up with your significant other because they don't share the same values in health as yours. That's her question, right? His Simon. Question, right, Simon. Listen, I that's a hard question to answer. I would say, each situation is going to be different, right? Because there's different factors within an individual relationship. It could be differences listen, I can understand where you are with your husband or your wife, your partner, whatever the case may be, and they are not making changes, let's say, in their diet, or they're not exercising like you are and stuff like that, but they are doing the best that they can, right? And if you really love your person, I think your job is to work with them, right? Why don't you, I know Simon said, listen, he had a heart scare, right? And then, he lost 49 pounds, right? Lost 49. And so great for him. That's great. And hopefully, you want your partner to watch what you're doing and make the changes too. But at the end of the day, you also know me too, Kay, that I want everybody to do whatever it is the hell that they want to do, right? Now, I think this is why I said it's a little bit different in terms of each relationship is different. Like, let's say, well, not even really. I was going to say if you have children with this person or even with them being your partner, yeah, you would want them to be around with you. And if there's children, to be the parent of your children for as long as they possibly can. So there are certain reasons why you would urge them, right, to take care of their diet, to exercise, to get proper sleep, to do all of this stuff. Like you said, you and I talk all the time, and yes, health is wealth, right? It's the wealthiest person in the world who has their health. But I do also know at the end of the day, I'm only responsible for myself. I'm not responsible for my woman. I'm not responsible for anybody else. I can't make them want to be healthy. I can't make them eat healthy. I can't make them go to the gym. I can't make them get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. But if I love them, if I truly love them, I don't think that I would be breaking up with them just because they are not doing those certain things. And there may be a little bit different when you talk about, now that's an emotional love, right? Then you might have a physical kind of attraction thing. Let's say your partner, let's say a woman's husband, or let's say, Simon's wife has not really taken care of her physical health so much, and let's say she gained 500 pounds, right? Simon might still love his woman, right? But he really can't be physical with her on that level because he's just not physically attracted to her the way that she physically is right now. A lot of people would say, oh, well, you're being an asshole by that, but I don't see someone being an asshole just because they are not able to be physical with their partner because their partner made the decision not to take care of their overall health, which includes physical and mental, right? Now, Simon could still love her, but he can't physically be with her, and then a relationship is not going to work that way, right? So there's just so many aspects to that question you just asked me, but I would say overall, just because your partner doesn't adopt the same healthy lifestyle as you, I don't think that is an automatic decision to say, well, I'm not going to be there for that person. I do think that you should put in the work to get them to be where you want them to be.
Jay, that sounded like a whole lot of abba-dabba word salad, but I think what I can kind of pull from what you said is that Simon shouldn't. You don't think he should break up a relationship? No. Okay. All right. Okay. So
if you really love them, no.
So man, listen, this is a tough one for me. The way I look at it.
Yeah, it is tough. Yeah.
I look at this as being a tough one because what I do agree with what you said, and I'll paraphrase it, which is there's levels to it, right?
Yeah.
You and your partner should be yoked on this one, equally yoked on this, right? And the reason is there is no independence when it comes to this. You know how I feel about this independence within relationships. You are responsible for your partner. God forbid, due to one's health, this person, I don't know, because of their poor habits, develop something and has to get a leg amputated. You, the spouse, I would expect you to help that individual, and you may also be pushing that person around in a wheelchair. That has altered your life. Now, if you signed up for that and this is the person you love and chose to spend your life with this person, for better, for worse, then that's what you do, right? But I'm telling you, man, that would probably be a hard pill to swallow, knowing that this is not something that just happened to you versus you opted into this because you couldn't stop eating banana pudding.
That's very selfish thinking, though, on your part.
You know what I mean? And so that's the part where it's like, where I could see it being difficult if that is indeed the case, because based on what he's saying, there was a life change. He's adopted a life change. She hasn't. His wife has not. She continues to live a certain way, and they can't be, because they're in a relationship. It gets to a point where it becomes difficult, as he says, to live in this divergent life and have these lives living autonomously from each other. That's not a marriage. That's not a marriage. That's not a partnership. You're in it together. So yeah, I can see that being incredibly difficult for someone to kind of navigate through this. And then the other side of it is, too, just the portion of the love that you have for a loved one, and you see them doing something that's not healthy, that's not good for them. You want to help them. You hope that they buy into the idea of making healthy choices. So, do I think he should leave? I do not. I do not think he should leave.
We agree on something.
I do not think that he should leave. I think he should remain committed to it. But the idea is that you are committed, and it could be a rough road to live, period.
Well, it could be, but the one thing, you made a selfish comment talking about if something you have to take care of them for the rest of their life. You started immediately thinking about, yeah, it is.
That
Yeah,
you wouldn't look after your spouse?
No, it's selfish because you automatically brought it back to you.
Automatically?
Yeah, you brought it back to you. If they get sick, now it's incumbent upon you to take care of your
context matters.
But that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, that's in the context.
It's
that's
in sickness and health.
That's in the context of the letter that he sent.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
No,
I'm talking about within the
no.
context.
You said you made some comment. I don't know whether they lost a limb or something.
Right.
Something you said something. Then you automatically brought it back to the partner who has to now take care of them. The way you phrased it.
Do you want me to read the letter again? I mean, I know it's not your strong comprehension. It's not your strong suit.
No.
I can read it again.
I heard.
Right. So within the context of the letter, that's why I said what I said. I don't understand why that's even. This dude is the listener, watcher, whatever it is considering and asking us whether or not he should leave his wife. That's in the context of
it's the part where Simon said is his concern about taking care of his spouse because they're not well. That part rubbed me the wrong way. Then I'm not saying you said that. Then if that's what Simon said, that's the part that rubbed me the wrong. That's what I got from it.
Well, no,
that if you're concerned about taking care of your partner because let's say they have diabetes now, or they get cancer, God forbid, and now because they weren't eating right and they weren't exercising, now they got cancer, they got diabetes, or got whatever disease, and now it's like, oh, well, now I have to take care of them, so maybe I should leave because God forbid they get some disease. I don't want to have to help take care of them. I think that's a selfish way to think and a selfish statement. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it may be, but that's not.
It definitely is.
But it may be, but that's not what I said. Clearly, again, comprehension.
Well, that's what Simon referenced. Then I have a problem with what he's saying.
Again, what I referenced to, what I said, and when I gave that example, I didn't say it's selfish. I said it would be a difficult pill to swallow, right?
To have to take care.
Okay. Go ahead. You want to finish the statement?
No, go ahead. I'm
sure?
listening.
Like, I mean.
Go ahead. I'm not saying no more. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Damn. So, doc, somebody didn't take a dose today, bro. Like, goddamn. Maybe R. Kelly took his.
No. Maybe the guards gave me too much. They didn't give me enough anxiety medication this morning.
Did the guards not give you a dose? Nah.
I got a ton of anxiety going on.
I was saying, no, Jay, what I was saying was, like, all I was saying would, to me, which would be not that your partner would not support you, but just imagine your partner, God forbid, develop lung cancer, and they've been smoking cigarettes, and you've been telling them, hey, these are horrible for you, don't smoke. This is not something, and you don't believe that they got it through, because of, was it hereditary reasons? It's because they were smoking 2 packs a day. And now it's like, okay, I'm going to be here. I took an oath before God, for better, for worse. I'm not gonna leave you. I'm gonna remain by your side. But damn, could have been avoided. Absolutely. And I've got to take care of you and push you around, and oxygen tanks, and we've got to change our entire life. You can't walk up steps. We got to get the ramp and all this other stuff. Yes, I opted into that. The moment I said that I love you and I accept you for my husband or for my wife, absolutely. But it's got to be a big pill to swallow at the same time you're doing this, knowing that it could have been totally avoided. That's all I was saying.
Maybe, or maybe not.
Oh,
I mean, we'll never know. Just because people get any diseases or whatever, people could be born with diabetes, they could be born with cancer. It's not just because they smoke. It's not just because they ate all these sweets and desserts.
In good faith, Jay, you know what the hell I'm saying.
No, I know, but I'm saying it doesn't mean.
Of course, these are possibilities, but that's not. But that's not what I said, right? We're talking about it's just based off of that. But I get it. You're just trying to put some clickbait out there.
No clickbait. I'm just speaking the truth.
You are doing clickbait because you know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, though.
I know what you're talking about.
So what you pointing it out like it's as if that part it's totally it's a totally blind spot to me. Of course it could be. Do we know 100%? No. I'm talking about people and real behavior. And if your partner developed lung cancer after years of smoking, after years that you told your partner to give up smoking, you try to work with them to do that. Now they're all effed up in the game, and you have to now take care of them as a result of their behavior, right?
Yeah.
No one's saying that, oh, you can't say 100% certain. Maybe it was in their hereditary genes. Of course it could have been. But that ain't what the fuck I'm talking about, is it?
Well,
what point are you trying to make? That
well, my point is, if you know this and you're with your partner, it's in the vows, for better for worse.
Oh,
you know your partner is smoking with. So then,
whatever,
like I already answered, Simon. Then you just need to stay. And if you really have a problem with that person who's smoking or whatever, or drinking alcohol or eating all these sweets or whatever the f they're doing, just leave then.
Oh, so
just
now
leave.
No,
if it's really a problem.
So now it's leaving.
Yeah,
Whereas before you're saying
listen,
don't leave.
I can't listen. I said it's individual cases, so you have to decide. Listen, you and I can't give advice on what an individual should stay or leave. I just gave you my opinion.
I swear to goodness, that's what the segment is called. It really is when you say J and K.
But at the end of the day,
do you know? Do you even watch the show? Do you listen to the show?
At the end of the day,
is this Jay?
No,
no.
I just host it. I don't listen to it. So the bottom line is, at the end of the day, all our viewers are asking us these questions. They're going to do whatever they do at the end of the day. But the thing is, I can't answer. We can just give our opinion.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
If it really bothers you that much, then just leave.
Well, for the person that can't answer, and I hope this means he's going to shut the fuck up for the rest of the show. No chance of that. There we go.
This is what, remember, if you listen to what I said.
I was hoping so.
When I first gave the first response, I said, if you listen to me, I said, if he really loves her, to stay. Someone who's concerned about having to take care of them if they get sick, clearly that person doesn't really love them. So in that case, he should leave.
Well, I think that you can really love someone and still also be concerned with the burden of having to take care of someone due to something that is self-imposed. I don't like you've got this singular this or that. People can walk and chew gum at the same goddamn time. Okay. I can love you with all my heart, and this can also, like, you know what? I love you with all my heart. I won't turn my back on you. I will be here. But you know what? I'm really pissed off at you at the same time for doing this to us. For doing this to yourself, for
doing
losing
this to us. It's doing that to that person first.
For developing cancer when you had an opportunity to
I don't like that about when you say doing that to us. It's that individual first and foremost. Anyone who comes down with cancer or diabetes, they're worrying about themselves first before they're worrying about you.
You're selfish,
okay? Well, I'm very selfish. And by the way, there's nothing wrong. Oh, I am, and I'm proud of that.
Right.
And all of us. And here's the thing, because we've discussed this, selfish is not a bad thing.
Well, you should have started with that.
We should all be selfish, because you must put yourself first. If you don't put K first, well, then there's something wrong with you. You don't love yourself. Well, we all should put ourselves first.
I'm gonna put myself first and end this show, because I'm about to fuck his ass up, bro. Like,
you ain't fucking nobody up.
I'm gonna put myself up, because like my angst is like up to fucking here right now with this dude, man. For the love of God, man,
well,
please.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case he's being for real and he's about to fuck me up, I think I'm going to end this show. It has been real, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the J&K Show. We'll be back next week for more fun debates and hot topics and more of me annoying the fuck out of K. Until next week, be good, be safe, and happy summer, y'all. Peace. We out, y'all. Thanks for watching the J&K Show.